Brought to you in part by Food Service Consultants Society International, the Americas. Visit us at fcsi.org to find the best food service consulting experts.
HVAC.
Back here again with another exciting episode of Rock My Restaurant. I'm Eric Norman, and I'm joined with my co-host Bill Bender. Let's jump right into today's topic. We are going to be discussing HVAC systems, and more specifically, commercial kitchen ventilation. HVAC, or heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, is a pretty broad term, so let's go through some of the basics before we get into the kitchen. Bill, why don't you explain to the viewers the role of HVAC as well as some of the terms related to the topic?
Thanks, Eric. To start off, we must first realize the goal of HVAC system in any building is to maintain a level of comfort for the people occupying the space. In restaurants, that of course would be our guests and team members of the restaurant. There are a few items that we're trying to control with the system to ensure comfort, and these factors are humidity, air quality, temperature, movement, and surface temperature. And that movement is an important one, let me tell you. For the guests and employees in the restaurant to remain comfortable, we must try and balance the space in relation to what is called the comfort zone. Or in other words, the right combination of temperature and humidity to achieve comfort.
That's right, Bill. We always want the guests to be comfortable in our dining rooms and kitchens. And the HVAC systems are the components that we use to achieve the comfort zone in the restaurant space. The HVAC system is able to find and maintain the comfort zone by controlling a number of factors. Air conditioners and chillers that produce cold air, furnaces and boilers that produce hot air, fans and ductwork to circulate the air in a space, and filters to clean the air. And of course, exhaust hoods and systems to remove cooking exhaust and odors from the restaurant. While that may sound simple enough, it is actually a very highly complex task to achieve the proper results and balance to ensure that odor, noise, and air quality are controlled, all while trying to maintain the constant comfort in a building. There are many environmental variables that are always changing, and the HVAC system must be able to quickly adapt to these changes. Some of the environmental changes include time of day, the changing weather, the season of the year, the number of guests in the restaurant, air pressure changes, and cooking demand in relation to the heat and smoke in a kitchen. Bill, what do you think about the commercial kitchen exhaust hoods?
You know, I think we're in a complicated business, Eric. No matter what topic we come up with on a weekly basis, bam, it's complicated.
Yeah.
You mentioned the main goals of the commercial kitchen ventilation is to remove heat and odors, grease, and moisture from the kitchen and the dishwashing area. These are the areas of the kitchen that are required to have proper ventilation. It is required by law, that means code, to be ventilated by a listed kitchen exhaust hood. These are what controls fire, grease, humidity, and fumes when they're ventilated. Without these hoods, you can imagine the heat and greasy messes that kitchens would be. I've been in some hot kitchens in my time, especially working over a broiler at Steak and Ale a few years ago. But I can't imagine if we didn't have exhaust hoods.
Yeah.
It's pretty safe to bet that your exhaust hood, fans, and ducting will probably be one of the most expensive pieces of equipment. And you know, it seems like we say one of the most expensive pretty often in our shows too, Eric, but this is true for the architectural design that has to go in the construction efforts when you're installing a hood. But it's not all bad, as today's new engineered and designed systems are very sustainable and have a great and fast return on investment, or ROI. We'll go into that a bit more in the future. Not only are these systems the most expensive in the kitchen, but they also were the most regulated. Some of the regulations include sanitation and hygiene, fire control and suppression, indoor and outdoor air quality, and insurance regulations.
Yeah, Bill, that's a lot to deal with. Let's dive a little bit deeper into those regulations and the agencies that dictate these norms. There are three main bodies that set the standards and dictate regulations for commercial kitchen ventilation, and these include the NFPA, or the National Fire Protection Agency. NFPA sets the national standards for exhaust hoods when it comes to the installation and construction. They also regulate the fans, the canopies, and the fire protection systems. This standard is called the NFPA Standard 96. The next one is UL, or Underwriters Laboratories. UL also sets the standards regarding the construction and quality of exhaust hoods. They deal with the steel gauge, the weld type, filter style, and combustible clearance requirements around that exhaust hood. A new standard for commercial kitchen exhaust hoods was reviewed and revised in 2011 by an agency called ANSI, or ANSI, which is the American National Standards Institute. This is referred to as ANSI Standard 154-2011, and it was an effort to try and align all of the different codes and recommendations for exhaust hoods because there was so many different codes out there, and they wanted to bring them all together into one package.
Eric, we need more acronyms in our industry and more regulating bodies, so let's make sure that we give a test in a few weeks for all of our viewers on acronyms and all these regulatory agencies, okay?
Yeah, I think
we don't have nearly enough, do we?
I think that's part of the FCSI professional exam, is to know all those,
True.
So as you can tell, there are a lot of these regulatory agencies and regulation of exhaust systems, and it is best to hire an FCSI consultant to design and specify your facility because we know all about these regulations and regulatory agencies. With exhaust systems, it is crucial to get it right the first time. And I think that's another term we use a lot in our episodes, get it right the first time. There is a lot of money and problems at stake if mistakes are made in this area. So make sure you do your upfront work and get this right.
It'll save you a lot.
That's right.
There are two types of exhaust hoods that we deal with in restaurants. Type 1 is a hood that is used for exhausting smoke, grease, flue gases, and moisture generated by cooking. This is a type of hood that you would find over your main cooking appliances and ranges, charbroilers, ovens, griddles, fryers, etc. Type 2 is a hood that is used to evacuate steam, vapors, odors, and heat. This hood is mostly used and found over dishwashers, dish machines, steam tables, and electric equipment, such as a convection oven, as long as there's no grease-laden vapors. Those doggone grease-laden vapors get everywhere, Eric, as you know. So now you're probably saying to yourself, that's great, Bill, but exactly how big does my hood need to be? This is not a simple task to determine when you line up your equipment and take measurements and throw a hood over it. There are many factors that go into properly sizing your hood and fan system. Some of the factors include BTU load, British thermal units, kilowatt of electric equipment, menu items, solid fuels cooking, physical size of equipment in your space, code considerations, required standoffs and overhangs, and grease, smoke, and vapor load.
Let's now go over some of the typical styles of hoods that you would see in different restaurant applications. These images will help you visualize what I'm talking about. First, condensate hood. Condensate hoods, as Bill mentioned, are used for the extraction of steam and heat, mainly from commercial dish machines. Exhaust-only hoods. Exhaust-only hoods are used for light-duty applications to exhaust heat and contaminated air from a cooking appliance, typically electrical appliance such as a half-size convection oven, something of that sort. Next, your canopy hood. This is probably the most recognizable hood, as it is the box-style hood that you see in most restaurants. E&O hoods, or exhaust-only hoods, are also the same style of hood, but they are usually Type 2 versus Type 1. Then we have backshelf hoods. This is the style you'll sometimes see in a short-order cooking application, where the hood is placed against the back wall and comes up at a 45-degree angle, and it's not hanging from the ceiling. Next, we have downdraft ventilation. This is not a standard hood, as the air is actually exhausted by either being pulled from the side or the back of a cooking appliances. Sometimes you'll see these like in teppanyaki restaurants where you have someone live cooking in front of you. Next, ventless hoods. These come in both countertop and canopy style, and instead of venting out of the building, they're actually using air scrubbers and cleaners to clean and recirculate the air back into the space. These hoods, however, do not remove heat from the area. Some other interesting things to consider would also be a water wash hood or a UV hood. These are two systems that help maintain a clean and efficient hood system. A water wash system actually periodically releases a stream of water behind the baffles to help eliminate grease and grime from the hood surfaces. The UV system uses a UV light system to actually change the grease particulate from the sticky mess we are used to to almost like a dust-like substance that can be cleaned up very easily out of the hood systems. We still recommend that your hoods be cleaned regularly no matter what type of system you use.
An engineered hood system versus a standard system will return a bay back to you in a number of ways, while giving you the best results in regard to comfort and indoor air quality. An engineered system over a standard hood can save money the following ways: lower exhaust volumes, less treated air being exhausted; lower makeup volume, less heating and cooling of outside air for the hood; reduced duct sizes; variable fan controls which allow the hood to ramp up and ramp down based on the cooking load; and zone system for optimum results. Not only are these systems returning a savings to your pocket, but they are also more sustainable. The reduction in treated air being exhausted, along with things like LED lighting, variable fan drives, and reduced makeup air usage, equal a great sustainable initiative in your project. Hoods can also help with regards to LEED lead.
Well, as you can tell, Bill, HVAC and hood systems are complex animals that take a lot of research and engineering to obtain the optimum results. We have only touched the tip of the iceberg and look forward to covering the topic more in upcoming episodes. Again, if you have questions or need assistance, please contact Bill or I. Now let's go over some of the show closing thoughts. Number one, with HVAC, we are trying to control the humidity, temperature, air quality, surface temperature, and air movement in a specific space. Number two, commercial kitchen ventilation is one of the most regulated items in your restaurant. Regulations include sanitation and hygiene, fire suppression and control, indoor and outdoor air quality, as well as insurance regulations.
There are two main types of exhaust hoods. That's two: Type 1 and Type 2. Be sure to know which one you need for your application in your restaurant. HVAC and commercial kitchen ventilation systems are very complex and will affect your operation for many years. Do it right the first time. Be sure to contact an FCSI consultant to assist with design and equipment needs. And I want to say a special thank you and hi to my friends at Consum's Oaks High School in Elk Grove, California, who I just met a few weeks ago at the ProStar Championship here in California. And remember, email or tweet us with your comments. We enjoy connecting with you. And thank you for watching Rock My Restaurant on Foodable Web TV.
Have a great day. Comfort zone.
Comfort zone.